Okay, this story is just insane. There is no other way to intro this other than saying that. Yeah, story time's definitely a crazy one. If you enjoy it, leave a like on the video. Let's get into this. So today's story time all takes place in the final year I was in high school. I was actually being a pretty good kid around this time because, I was trying to graduate and, I was focusing a lot on YouTube and I wasn't really doing much, right? I wasn't getting in trouble a lot. I was being a pretty good kid. But I was still in like a secondary school. I wasn't at my main high school. I got put into like a secondary one because my grades were so shitty. So I was at a school for bad kids, essentially. I've talked about it before, and I was there on and off throughout my entire high school career. But because I was at a school for bad kids, there was a lot of bad kids there that were a lot worse than I ever could be. Like, I saw a girl fight the school cop one time when I was there. I made a video about that way back in the day. I saw a dude throw a cheeseburger at the wall because he was angry, and it stuck there for like 20 minutes because the teachers couldn't reach it. I walked into the bathroom once in the middle of class to someone just spray painting the wall. Like, he had a backpack full of spray paint and was just going at it, making this really crazy like mural thing. So yeah, people there just didn't really give a fuck, like the students and the teachers. So you'd get away with a lot. But this story time is definitely about one of the craziest things I ever saw at this school. So let's jump into it. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day. I get up out of bed, I take a shower, I eat some breakfast, I go to school, I get there, I walk into my first period class, and I can't lie, first period was pretty normal. Nothing out of the ordinary there, just a normal first period class for me. But then we get to second period, and this is where things kind of pick up a bit. So the bell rings, and first period lets out, and everyone has a chance to go to their lockers and get what they need for second period. So I go to my locker, I grab one of my folders that I need, and I start heading towards my second period class. And right when I was about to get to my second period class and the bell was about to ring, I realized I had to pee pretty bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the bathroom quick before class starts. So I go to the nearest bathroom, I walk in, and I walk into a sight that I did not expect to see. I see three dudes that I've seen before in a circle, and they're packing a bowl on this like little bubbler / bong thing they had, and it didn't look like weed. And I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? And like I said, they knew me and I knew them. We weren't like close friends or anything, but we were like kind of friends in school. So one of them looked up and he looked at me and he was like, oh, what up, man? I was like, what's up? What are you guys doing? And he's like, we're about to smoke. You want to smoke with us? And then he winks. Like, he winks at me after he says that. And I was like, that's not weed that you're putting in that bowl. Like, what is that? And he goes, it's salvia. Now, I knew what salvia was back then, and I knew what it did to people. That shit makes you trip absolute balls. And it's not a good trip most of the time. Most of the time, it's like the ground's on fire and you're trying to stand on a chair so that you don't burn alive. That's what it feels like. It's just a terrifying experience for a lot of people. So when they said they were about to do this in the school bathroom, like all casually, I was like, have any of you ever smoked it before? And they're like, nah. And I was like, guys, I've done it before. And let me tell you, that shit is not fun. Like, everyone I know that's done it, including me, 9 times out of 10 had a bad trip. And you guys probably will too. The good news is it doesn't last very long. It's like 5 or 10 minutes, but still, it's going to be really fucking bad for that 5 or 10 minutes. And it won't feel like 5 or 10 minutes. It'll feel longer. And my friend's like, yeah, no, I know. It's only 5 or 10 minutes. So, like, even if we have a bad trip, we'll be fine. We'll just go back to class. Like, this dude really thought it was like smoking a cigarette or a vape or something. Like, he hits it a couple times, gets a head rush for 5 minutes, and then he'll go back to class. Like, there's literally videos online of people smoking this shit and then jumping out of second-story windows. Like, it's a serious-ass thing, and it shouldn't just be messed around with for fun in between classes at school. But you know what? I just gave up. I was like, you know what? You guys do you. I'm not a part of this. Like, whatever. Now, even though I said that, I kind of was a part of it because I was still sitting in there watching them do this. But, like, now I'm invested. I'm interested. I want to see what's going to happen to each and every one of them when they smoke this shit. I want to know how crazy they trip out. Plus, if one of them starts, like, freaking the fuck out and tries to jump out the window in the bathroom, I can stop them. So anyway, one of my friends goes and he takes a hit of this shit, and he holds it for a little bit. He exhales, and the minute he exhales, he drops to the ground, almost dropping the bong, and starts giggling like a little baby. And all of our friends are like crowded around him, laughing, like, laughing with him because this is so funny to watch. And then his trip goes from giggling like a little baby to screaming. He proceeds to look up at us and just starts screaming hysterically and shaking. And everybody around me, They all fucking freak out. They're like, why is he doing that? Stop him. How do you stop him from doing that? I was like, bro, what do you mean, how do you stop him? He's having a bad trip. You can't stop him. Like, he's literally tripping balls right now, and it's not good. And one of his friends starts trying to cover his mouth with his hand so that he stops screaming, like he muffles his screaming. And it was too late. Somebody already heard it outside the bathroom. And of course, it was a fucking teacher's assistant that heard the screaming. And it's a girl. And she runs into the boys' bathroom. And she goes, what's going on? I heard screaming. Is everyone okay? And she sees this kid on the ground, shaking and screaming with my friend's hand over his mouth, trying to muffle it. And she goes, what's happening? Like, take your hand off his mouth. What's going on? And my friend's like, I don't know. Like, he just started doing this. Clearly lying. Meanwhile, my other friend is holding this bong behind his back, making sure the teacher can't see it. And he's trying to put it into the backpack behind his back, which is damn near impossible. But somehow she doesn't see it. And she goes, well, he needs to go to a hospital. He's having a seizure or something. And she runs up to this dude while he's screaming and shaking on the ground and turns him over on his side because she thinks he's having a seizure, right? Meanwhile, my friend is unzipping his backpack behind his back and slipping the little bong bubbler thing into it with the salvia. And he succeeds and he zips it back up before she sees. And immediately she calls 911 because, you know, she thinks this kid's having a fucking seizure. And I am sitting here in this bathroom like, bro, what the fuck did I just walk into? Like, this is not what I expected to happen. And I'm terrified for a number of reasons. The number one thing being, this kid's having a terrible fucking trip, or he really is having a seizure. Like, I'd never seen such an intense, crazy, like, salvia trip like this. He was really fucked up. Even if it wasn't a seizure and it was just a really bad trip, like, I don't know how he's gonna be when he comes out of this. He looked so terrified and was screaming. Like, whatever trip he was having, like, there was some demon in it chasing him or something. I don't know. But it was horrible looking. Anyway, this teacher assistant calls 911, and other people hear the screaming outside in the hallway, other teachers. They come in. They call in the nurse. The nurse comes in. She's sitting there, laying there with him on his side. And at this point, it had been enough time to where the trip was wearing off. Like, it had been 5 or 10 minutes, and it was finally starting to chill out. And he was not screaming anymore. He was slowly coming back. And it was too late. The ambulance was already on its way, and he was going to go to the hospital. And thank fuck, this dude ends up fully coming back, like fully comes to before the ambulance gets there. And he's like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And they're all like, you just had like a seizure. You need to go to the hospital. And he looks up at me and all of our friends, and he goes, no, I'm fine. I just fell down. I'm good. And the nurse is like, no, honey, you have to go to the hospital and get checked out. Like, if you just fell down, you might have hit your head or something. Like, you need to be extra safe. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm not going. And she goes, sorry, honey, you have to go. And he's like, no, I'm not going. And he stands up, and the nurse tries to grab his arm, to which he runs away out the bathroom door and breaks her grip and just runs out of the school. Like, they tried to chase after him, but he was gone. He ran out of the school and just ran away off school property. And me and all my friends look at each other, and they're just like, yo, what the fuck is happening right now? That was literally our reaction to the whole thing, basically. But the craziest thing about this entire situation is they didn't find out. The school didn't find out about any of what actually happened. They thought that he had a seizure. They thought that he refused medical care and just ran away. And that was the extent of it. I never got in trouble. My friends didn't get in trouble. And they didn't get caught, which blows my mind. Now, the next day, my friend, he came back to school, the one that had the bad trip, the one that, ran away and, almost went to the hospital. And he got in trouble. He got 2 days of in-school suspension because of what happened, him running off school grounds and, skipping school for the rest of the day. But I asked him, I was like, dude, what happened after you left school? Like, what'd you do? He's like, bro, I went home. My mom asked me why I'm home so early. I told her I ran away. She asked why, and I just told her the truth, bro. I was like, you told her the truth? He's like, yeah. I was like, you told her you did salvia, had a horrible trip, and then ran away when they tried to call the police because they thought you were having a seizure? He's like, yeah. She was going to find out anyway, man. Like, the school called the house a few minutes later and told her everything anyway. I was like, dude, what happened? He's like, honestly, man, because I came clean to her first, I didn't get in that much trouble. I was like, bullshit. He's like, yeah, man, I'm grounded for like 2 weeks. I was like, you fucking lucky bastard. But yeah, I guess after the school called his parents just told him that, he came home and that he didn't need to go to the hospital and that they would handle it. And that's what happened. The paramedics left my school. Everyone resumed their classes as usual. And he got grounded for 2 weeks and 2 days of in-school suspension for skipping school for the rest of the day. That was it. But yeah, definitely a good outcome, I would say. He didn't get hurt. He was okay. He just had a really fucked up trip, and he said he would never do salvia again, rightfully so. All of my friends who witnessed that shit, they were now way too scared to try it, and I don't blame them, and my friend threw it away. So yeah, moral of the story is, don't fuck with that shit. Simply, just don't fuck with that shit. And don't do anything you heard about in this story time, because holy shit, it was a fucking shit show. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of that. I hope you enjoyed this story time. It's a crazy one, I think. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Baby, I'm damaged, I cannot plan this. Won't you be mine?